Hi, my name is Capra. I live in South Carolina. I work for the South Carolina Department of Mental Health as a human services specialist too. I teach coping skills, independent living skills, encourage communication and socialization during group sessions to kind of help with reentry after a long-term stay within the facilities. We're going to discuss informed consent today, and I looked up the American Counseling Association regulations on informed consent. And basically it says that it means that a client has to maintain the freedom to be able to decide to enter into or continue a counseling relationship, and to do so that they must be given adequate information about their expectations, limitations, rights, responsibilities of both himself and the counselor to be able to make that decision. It also stated that it was a continuous part of the counseling relationship and must be documented throughout its entirety. Informed consent has been listed as being purposes, goals, techniques, principles, procedures, limitations, potential risk, benefits of service. It's up to the counselor to take reasonable steps to ensure that the client understands this. They need to understand the implications of any diagnosis, use of reports, or testing that may be done with the information gathered during your session or research. It also needs to make sure that, or the counselor needs to make sure that you tell the client about fees for services, cancellations, billing information, contract of payment, accepted forms of payment, attendance expectations, cancellation expectations, time frames that would be a non-penalty time, no-show fees or penalties, phone numbers to call for appointments, cancellations, or reschedule, or with other questions. You also need to make sure that your information includes a number for a crisis after hours and a place to go should that happen during times where they cannot reach you. You may need to include that it is possible that you may refer them to another counselor should their particular disposition not be within your scope of practice. You have to make sure they understand that you do keep records for physical and virtual information that has been shared. I looked over a few of the consent forms that I found online, and mostly they were from private practices. And with the most recent pandemic, I found one on the South Carolina Department of Mental Health website for telehealth services. These disclosures or consent forms are a little bit different than the ones I've seen. They don't include like phone numbers, addresses, licensure requirements. They do meet and include the information for HIPAA for confidentiality information, record keeping, record sharing, and it gives permission for other counselors, clinicians, doctors, nurses to be able to access the information with the client's agreement. The form authorized the client's physician to discuss medical, physical, mental health, and prior histories, present complaints, laboratory work, diagnostic testing, and it can be accessed by any member of the DMH or Department of Mental Health staff that would be helping with the service for that client. Information that was shared with clinicians in training was also addressed in this form. It talked about the client was informed that with their signature, and it was being witnessed by a employee of Department of Mental Health, that this form would grant access to all of his health information to help him or her